Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a film review of Jallikattu by Lijo Jose Pellissery. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I review Malayalam, Hindi, Telugu, and Tamil cinema, and I also do trailer reactions. This is a film I've heard about for a long time. Any Lijo Jose Pellissery film is an occasion for me. His films, Angamali Diary and Imagery, were just amazing filmmaking, and especially Angamali Diaries just absolutely blew me away. I was eagerly anticipating this, and then I was thrilled to hear that it was premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival. That was incredible. It also played at a Korean film festival, the Busan Asian Film Festival. It was getting accolades. I was frankly avoiding really reading reviews because I just kind of wanted to go in. I couldn't escape hearing anything about it. I knew it was about a bull that escapes slaughter and runs amok, right? Interestingly, it's only 90 minutes long. What I learned after I watched it, I was like, this feels like a short story to me. And that's because it's based on a short story. Hareesh wrote the short story Maoist, on which this is loosely based. And he adapted this for the screen with R. Jayakumar. Lijo Jose Pellissery this time did not write the script. So it has just a very different feel than many Indian films, which can, just ramble on for 3 hours or more. I just saw Biggle last week, which was, a hefty 3 hours. You're left kind of like, because it's like reading a short story where you're left like, I want to know more about these characters. I want to know more about this backstory. I want to know more of what this whole setting was about. Just like reading a short story, you just kind of left with this wallop of the ending, and it stays with you, and it's an idea that's just presented to you, but not explored to the full extent and depth of characters like you would in a full novel or in a more normal Indian cinema length movie. Now, 90 minutes isn't out of the realm at all for a Hollywood film, especially something that's more like a thriller, fast-paced. Sometimes Indian thrillers and horror films, especially Malayalam cinema, can feel too stretched out, and they don't feel tight enough. Also, just because of the style of Lijo Jose Pellissery's filmmaking, it's so kinetic. There's so much going on. You're just right in the middle of the action. That's something that really stands out to me about his films, is that I think about the way fight scenes are filmed in other South Indian films. We're very much an observer of this thing happening. And with his films, you feel like you are right in the middle of an action, like a punch is about to come right at you. And same thing with this bull and the scenes with that. It's just like you're just right in the middle of it, and you're kind of jumping because it could be coming right at you. This idea sounds so simple. There's a man in this hill village who wants to throw an engagement party for his daughter, and he wants to have a bull slaughtered to have this elaborate feast, as his wife said, for only 30 people. and so you're seeing all these people in the village waking up, and that's one thing that's incredible. The soundscape of this film. This is definitely one, see it in a theater, because you need to experience the sound all around you. It's just not going to be the same watching it at home. The music is by Prashant Pillai, and really the opening moments of the film, you're hearing the rhythms of people's breaths, sounds of like a ticking clock, and it all is making the song, but it's all natural sounds. It's really something to experience, especially when you're hearing it all around you. I was blown away by the editing. Deepu Joseph did the editing, and the cinematography, Girish Gangadharan. Amazing. There's so much chaos and things going on, and filming in darkness, and the use of light, the use of fire and torches, and wow, like I have to hand it to you. The whole experience of the film was incredible. Chemban Vinod Jose plays the butcher Varghese, who the bull escapes from. His helper in his butcher shop is Antony, played by Antony Varghese of Angamali Diaries. And wow, has that guy bulked up. Like, he looks so different. There's another main character, Katachan, who's played by Sabumon Abdusamad. And I'm not sure that I am familiar with him. There's this backstory. We get some flashbacks. We get a hint at what this conflict is between the Antony character and the Katachan character. Everything is just explosive. What I was just kind of been marinating in my mind is how violence is both casual and ever present in so many scenes in this film. There's an early scene of a policeman slapping his wife and having a violent argument with her. There's a scene of, I think it's Antony abusing a woman and she's trying to push him off. There's all sorts of small things like that. And then there's a tracking shot where the bull has already escaped and some sort of rowdy guys are arriving and we're in the village and police show up. And so it's an interesting tracking shot, not as long as that incredible 11-minute one in Angamali Diaries, but still gives you the sense of I'm plucked right here down in the middle of this village, in the middle of the main street, and I'm amongst all the different things that are happening and how people are interacting with others, but they're always just like this spark, like you're always feeling like any group of men that are coming together, so anything could happen. And frequently does. Fights break out, words are exchanged, always. And this is an allegory. It's like they'll hit you over the head with the symbolism of men are the beasts, right? Men are the beasts. Here is this bull who is rampaging and is wild, but who is really wild? Who is really has the inner beast in them? And ending in this, I can't even describe the closing climax imagery is just stunning. One thing that I was left with, and this is not really a spoiler, but how women react. None of the women in the village chase after the bull. And I was thinking about that on my drive home from the theater, how it's just the men that get into a frenzy about catching this bull and all things, violent things that happen with him. And the women, at one point, they're warned, women and children stay inside. There's these women that are just cooking outside. They're just kind of like, yeah, you go deal with that. Interesting thinking about how the women were not really necessarily afraid or caught up in the frenzy of everything. And at one point, there's a character that kind of molests a woman, and she's trying to push him off. And then she says, bring home 3 kilos of meat. And so it's sort of this matter-of-factness where I wasn't sure if there was a back history with them and it was a more complex relationship, or if she was just resigned to being treated that way and just like, fine. Like, are you done already? Just bring some meat home so I can make this dish for dinner. I'm just really taken with the differences between the men and the women in the film. The film has stunning imagery, kinetic, frenzied filmmaking like we normally see from Lijo Jose Pellissery. We've seen some of the incredible imagery in the trailer itself, and again, I highly recommend you see it in the theater and experience the soundscape. Just know that the story is kind of thin. It's an experience. It's a short story. We don't get in depth on the full story of what is behind the friction between them. We're getting a vignette of this village and all the different people that are in it, but we're not getting in anything in depth about anyone. And so that was kind of where, if I had to flaw the film, it's like I was left wanting more, but that was kind of the point, I think, because it's literally like a short story. It's just when I go to watch an Indian film, I'm used to getting the whole backstory. I always talk about, my example is seeing Gajini, and Memento is a very short film, same story. But the Indian version, I get an hour-long backstory on how the love story happened and why he cared so much that his wife was killed, right? But when you're talking about a thriller, the fast-pacedness really pays off. It's like a roller coaster ride of a film. On the outside, it sounds like, how exciting could it be to have this bull rampaging through this village? But you have to see what Lijo Jose Pellissery does with it, and just the beauty of flashlights in the dark and torches as people are running together, and an overhead drone shot of all these people in a group with torches and spreading off into 3 different groups, and just how beautiful it is to see what I'm talking about. It's opening this weekend in a limited number of cities in the US. Not everywhere. So, for instance, not playing in LA from what I saw on Twitter. So possibly it will open. I don't know if it will open in more cities over time or if this is it. But if you are in one of those cities where it is playing in a theater in the US, trust me, you want to experience it in a theater. I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to say that this is my favorite one of his films. But he is just such a level beyond, and is doing such experimental, different kind of work than almost anyone else in Indian cinema. He's a unique filmmaker. I love his point of view. I'm going to be there for any film that he wants to make. I'm just thinking about my emotional reaction to his last film, Imagery. In a way, that one was also kind of short, but I was so emotionally invested with some of the characters that I was like devastated at the end. I just remember. And I don't know that I had that same feeling, but they're just images from this film that are going to stay with me for a very long time. I'm so glad that it did finally come to Chicago and I was able to see it. Let me know your thoughts about the film in the comments below. I would really love to hear your thoughts. I had a feeling that I was missing some political jokes that were in the film that were just going over my head. I mean, the short story itself was called Maoist, which really makes me wonder if it was just the idea of this, rampaging bull that was the short story and they changed it. I don't know. I haven't read the short story it was based on. But anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts about anything like that you think that might have gone over my head, that might need explaining. I don't want to get into any more spoilers really, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Certain characters. Yeah, I got like the friction with the police. That I definitely got. But there were other things that I think over my head. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at PardeziYT. Subscribe here to Pardesi Reviews. And if you hit the bell when you subscribe, you'll never miss another trailer reaction or a film review.